Well, it's good to be back. Good to see people in person. With that, I'll move to return to open session.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes, if everyone would please stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll move to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes, we got a few presentations this evening, so let's see. Dee, I think you're up first.
Yes. We have a proclamation designating May 2021 as Mental Health Awareness Month in Anderson Township. As many of you may know, we have an Anderson Mental Health Collaborative here in the township. The township's a part of that. The school district, the park district, Mercy Health. There's a lot of various different groups are a part of that. And we do the speaker series and things. So we take mental health in this township very seriously. So with that, we have a proclamation designating May 2021 as Mental Health Awareness Month in Anderson Township, whereas 1 in 20 U.S. adults experience a serious mental illness each year, but less than 2/3 get treatments, and whereas 1 in 6 youth experience a mental health condition each year, but only half get treatment, and whereas suicide is the second leading cause of death among people aged 10 to 34 and the 10th leading cause of death overall in the U.S., and whereas early intervention programs are important as half of all lifetime mental conditions begin by age 14 and 75% by age 24. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Township Trustees of Anderson Township, Hamilton County, Ohio, as follows, that this board hereby proclaim May 2021 as Mental Health Awareness Month in Anderson Township. And you have
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes. All right. Next up, this was National Public Safety Telecommunicator Week, and I think, Rick, you're coming up to present.
Sure.
Thanks, Chief.
If I could, I would like to ask some individuals to step forward with me. If we could have Hamilton County Communications Director Andrew Knapp, Communication Officer Ron Paquette, Supervisor Andrew Farlano, and Supervisor Sam Wood step forward. Okay, thank you. Daily, we see the frontline work performed by police officers, firefighters, and EMS crews in order to keep our residents safe. A group not in front of the lines that plays a critical role in those efforts are our Hamilton County Communications Center staff and dispatchers. The expression call 911 has very much become the universal call for help throughout the country and throughout the county. From television shows to public announcements to everyday life, whenever someone needs immediate assistance, we hear the same phrase, call 911. What we do not see in those programs or everyday life are the individuals that make up the actual 911 dispatchers. The men and women of our communication center are truly the bridge between the public and our first responders. Whenever or wherever in Hamilton County there is an emergency, it starts with the individual standing behind me. Their jobs entail much more than just answering phones. They must remain calm, gather the necessary information, dispatch the correct response units, and in the meantime, often provide appropriate medical instructions. And if anybody has ever heard one of those calls come in, they realize how difficult it is sometimes to get to the pertinent facts. Because their efforts are often overshadowed by the more dramatic incident themselves, tonight we wanted to publicly recognize those individuals behind 911 and to let the men and women of the Hamilton County Communications Center know that we are thankful and appreciative of their ongoing efforts. I believe you have a resolution before you this evening.
I do, and you couldn't have said it any better. So with that, I'm going to move its passage to this proclamation resolution designating
April 11th through 17th, 2021 is National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week here in Anderson Township. With that, I think you guys deserve a huge round of applause. So.
And I second that resolution.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Garth?
Yes.
I'll let you have that.
Thank you. Messed that up.
Good, I'll take it. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
I'll keep it brief. Trustees, thank you very much for the recognition. We very much appreciate it. The men and women that are here with me are in service to your residents each and every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We go through an amazing amount of trials and tribulations. The emotional toll that this industry exacts on our employees is significant. And it's great to hear that your mental health awareness is as it is here in Anderson Township, because we have the same exact philosophy that we need to take care of our employees. Last year, for the residents across the county, we handled over 240,000 911 calls that came into us just last year. Those calls were answered in 10 seconds or less over 93 to 94% of the time. We far exceed the national standard on 911 centers, and it's the hard work of the folks behind me that make sure that happens. And it's not just the speed. Speed is one thing. We obviously want accuracy. We want efficiency. That efficiency is gained by municipalities such as yours participating in a shared services model of this particular type of service. It's a very, very expensive service, as you're well aware of, and it's been quite controversial over the years, and I'm quite thankful that here recently we've been able to kind of wrestle that animal that is the user fee associated with our operation, and it puts a little bit more service-oriented capabilities within your township to give you some public safety money back as the county takes over more of the responsibility for that financing. So with that, again, I said I would keep it brief. I appreciate the recognition. If there's anything that we can do, please don't hesitate to reach out to me as a director. I speak regularly with the Sheriff's Department and the Fire Chief. We have an awesome relationship with everyone at the Fire Department, but I really do appreciate the recognition for the men and women there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
sir.
you.
Next up, Paul, I think you've got some presentations.
Thank you. Good evening. Tonight, on behalf of the Anderson Township Tree Committee, we would like to present awards for great trees in the township. This program was initiated back in 2015 by the committee, and the purpose is to acknowledge and bring attention to one of our most valuable assets in the township. And these are just trees in 4 different categories. The categories are shade tree, ornamental tree, evergreen tree, and this year, instead of a tree grove category, the committee decided to honor fall color and recognize fall color. The committee does take nominations throughout the year, so depending on the season, some trees look better in the winter, some in the fall, some in the summer, so we do take nominations throughout the year, and the committee makes a recommendation for the winners at their committee meeting, which took place in March. So with that, Trustee Pappas is going to help hand out these awards, and if you are here, when your award is called, if you'll come up and Mr. Pappas will hand you the award, and if you want to tell us anything about your tree, you're more than welcome to do so. So the first category that we would like to recognize are for the shade tree category, and this is located on the Anderson Township Historical Society property at 2554 Bartles Road. This is in American Beach, and I believe Mr. Perry is here too.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You like to say something about you?
Just briefly. Thank you on behalf of the Anderson Township Historical Society. We're kind of fortunate. This tree was planted by the Browns in the 1940s, and their 2 daughters, well, their one daughter and family and other are here tonight. I'd like for them to at least be recognized.
Sure.
First is Kathy Horschel. And the second is the the Greer family. They watched this tree for 50-some years. We've only had it for 25. So they deserve all the credit.
Thank you.
That's a beautiful tree. I love that tree. And for those of you that don't know, if you've been up to the urban garden, you can see that tree. So it's a beautiful spot. Andrew will get right on that.
And, good, you're in charge.
That's right. That's right.
There was a tie this year, actually, in this category for shade trees. So the second shade tree winner, this is located at 2564 Little Dry Run Road, and the property owner there is Emily Freyer. I believe she.
Well, I appreciate the award. Thank you so much. I've only been with this tree since 2016, but I love it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the next category was an ornamental tree, and this
Oh, that's pretty.
is a Japanese maple. The landowners are Joseph and Joyce Collins, and the property is located at 2102 Hunters Point. Are the Collins here? I don't believe they were able to make it tonight. The next category was the Evergreen Tree category. These are eastern white pines, and these are located at 1019 8 Mile Road, and the landowner there is Wayne Dorsey. I don't believe he's able to make it either. And then last but not least, for fall color, the winner this year was for Sugar Maple, which was located at 1584 Hilltree Drive. The landowners are Paul and Karen Volbrock, and I believe they are here.
These trees are about 17 years old. 17 years old, and they, what's that? In our yard. But the picture was taken by our neighbor, and we didn't know he had taken the picture, and suddenly we get this award.
Oh, really?
It's pretty cool. And they were selected by my wife, and we were shopping for trees, and she picked them out. They're October Glory? October Glory maples.
They're beautiful. Thank you.
So we want to congratulate all the winners, and we want to thank our tree committee members, and Mr. Pappas as well for selecting these trees. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything to add?
Paul, on that, I'd like to just also say, our tree committee is a bunch of amazing people, and we meet at our meetings and we discuss so many different varieties of trees and the importance of maintaining and maintaining the different varieties and trying to keep everyone in the township as educated as possible. And I can't thank our tree committee enough. They do such good work and such knowledgeable people, and we're doing fantastic work down at the Arboretum that we have that we'll be having news about. So I just am blown away at how dedicated a group of people we have that are so committed to keeping Anderson beautiful. So.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, well said. Thanks. Next up, road construction.
Yippee.
Everybody's favorite springtime topic. So good evening, and a pleasure to join you, and thanks for those that are here in attendance as well. Each year, for the last nearly 20 years, we have collected and developed an annual list of road construction projects in our area. The intent of that really is to help to minimize traffic through that area, help to minimize delays, help to optimize worker safety, of just some of the reasons. What we try to avoid are situations like yesterday morning that many folks experienced on Beachmont Avenue and 32 and Clough Pike. And fortunately this morning, even less than 24 hours later, there's been improvements to that. The summary I have tonight is the result of outreach to our partners at different government agencies, utility providers, and other agencies that we work with. It is on our website as I'm scrolling down right now. And for those that are on the official Township Facebook page, it'll be posted tomorrow morning with a link to this information, or you can go home and take a look at more. But there's a map. It's hard to read from a distance, I understand, but I'll just touch on a couple elements that are key aspects. There also is a full listing of projects on this page as well, which is right here, which might be a little bit easier to see. I'm not sure in the back or not. But in essence, I'll hit on a few of the highlights. One of the big ones, and Mr. Luganbiel will have an item for your consideration tonight, assuming you approve that, is an extensive list of township roadway repairs. I think, Eric, you'll be on 70 streets or more between paving and sealing and other applications, as you can see there. So the entire first page, these are roads that you've been working on curb and sidewalk in last year's cycle, and this year would be the paving on those roads, as well as applications of different types of pavement treatments to lengthen the life, and then some slurry microsurface on other streets. So, like I said, nearly 70 streets the township will be working on this summer. So a very active summer for us. Very active summer as well for the Hamilton County Engineers Office. They have 5 major paving projects. That includes Lawyer Road, Nordyke Road, Mount Carmel Road, Broadwell Road, and the Asbury Hill going down to 32 where there was a landslide repair. I can't think of a year, and I'm looking around at our staff, the county's ever done that much paving in 1 year in Anderson Township. So we're very fortunate to have that moving forward as well, though I'm sure it will cause some inconveniences along the way. The end product will be much better that way. There is the project I mentioned earlier, which is the Little Miami Trail connection. Unfortunately, there's a vehicular component of that, which involves modifying the bridge alignment. So for the next 16 months or so, there'll be modifications, including the traffic signal that currently exists at 32 to Beachmont Avenue. That is a temporary signal because there no longer will be a yield lane as of probably tomorrow morning or certainly by Monday, and that's why the signal has been put up. Unfortunately, the state has been out there literally most of the last 24 hours tweaking that to make it work better. It was so much better this morning. And then related to that, Waterworks will be installing a new water main on Batavia Road right in that same area. So they'll hopefully have to coordinate projects, and that's part of the reason, again, that we prepare this list. The last item I have basically is utility work. Duke Energy has been active, particularly on Clough Pike, and they will remain active on Clough and some other streets this summer with not only overhead lines, but also some gas main improvements in the township. So it will be a busy year. Fortunately, from the regional perspective, with the exception of some work up at the 32 interchange and on 275, we don't have a lot of impacts around us. But within the community, there will be delays, and we'll be doing our best to try to coordinate and communicate that information to the public. So if there's any questions that you have, again, for the public that's here tonight or watching, this is all on our website. And again, if there's any questions the board has, I'm happy to go through those as well. So,
Thank you, Steve.
seeing none, I'll close up here and hand this back to Mr. Dean.
Thank you.
All right, moving into the public portion of our meeting. Anybody that would like to address this board may do so at this time. Sorry, it's been a while since there's been a public.
Yeah, I know.
Anyone that would like to come up can do so at this time.
Hello, good evening. For the record, my name is Lexi, last name Lawston, and I reside at 7845 Stonehill Drive. I'll keep this very short and sweet. So 2 things. I wanted to say thank you to the board for just allowing us the opportunity to attend these meetings from the comfort of our home during the pandemic. Very nice. It was very obvious that there was an effort made that we could all hear and have the opportunity to speak. And I think that's just a testament to the transparency. So I appreciate that and thank you, and I'm glad we're in person. And then, the other reason I just wanted to formally introduce myself to you as the board. I know I've met several of you and unofficially and through, like Ms. Stone on We Thrive, we sit together on that board, and it's been great. But I wanted to introduce myself to you all formally to say thank you. But also I will be running for trustee this November for this township. So I thought it'd be a great opportunity to formally introduce myself to you all. And I'm very much looking forward to being in person at these meetings going forward. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Hello.
It's Denise Gretchen from the Anderson Branch Library.
Yeah, you guys got some stuff going on, don't you?
We do. We're located at 7450 State Road. And I wanted to give the community an update about our Next Generation Library project. So as a part of the Next Generation Library, Anderson is going to be receiving some upgrades. We're going to get paint, we're going to get carpet, we're going to get some really fun play things in the children's room, a playhouse, and a stationary car that's STEM for learning. We're going to have a quiet reading room. And we're going to get us some additional study pods and have our own teen area. And in a quiet reading room, there's going to be a fireplace.
Oh, wow.
So, of course, that's going to take some construction work and some time. So beginning tomorrow, we'll be closed 6 to 8 weeks. Hopefully, we'll open beginning to mid-June. But we'll still be open for our drive-through window service that we got during the pandemic. So you can still come to the window to pick up your materials. And you can call us, so we'll be here. Anybody have any questions?
No.
No? Okay.
Good luck with the construction.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks, Denise.
That's exciting.
Anyone else? All right, we'll move into trustee comments. Dee, Andrew, anything to add?
No, it's nice to be back in person, and I'd like to thank staff, especially Steve, for working with county on that situation down on at the levee yesterday. Was interesting.
State.
County, everybody, and it was nice to get that signal. It's still going to be a headache, and I ask that everybody, get familiar with it, get comfortable with it. Let's hope it goes quicker. Because I personally witnessed a couple of very minor fender benders, so let's hope that it goes very quickly and people become cognizant that when you're coming off of Clough, you have a light in front of you. But if we have any updates, I'm sure they'll be on our website, and the way you jumped on that, I do appreciate it. Very, very professional.
Yes, thank you. Agree. You done?
I am now.
Okay. And I agree with that. I was going down the Beachmont Hill a couple days ago, and all of a sudden there was a light there. It's like, whoa, where'd that come from? So it's quite shocking. So I understand people, but at the end will be very cool. So we just finally glad to have this project underway. Just wanted to remind people, if you're sitting in the audience, you watching the screen, the Let's Get Connected sessions are coming up, let's see, not this week, the following week, for the Anderson Comprehensive Plan. Every 5 years, we update our comprehensive plan, so this is the year for that. I'm the trustee liaison on that. And we are having community input sessions. They are Zoom links, so you can go on our website, sign up for a link. We want to hear, it's about the future of Anderson Township. What do we want it to be? And so there's a little presentation at the beginning and then some questions. We practiced it the other day at our steering committee meeting. So anyway, please sign up. We'd love to hear we'd love to have at least 100 people for each of these sessions. There are 3 different sessions. And secondly, it's not this Saturday, the following Saturday is the Great American Cleanup. And you can go sign up on that on our website too, and let's just get out and clean things up. If you look around, I did the corner of, I think, Forest and Asbury a couple years ago, and it's like, now I know where every teenager in this township dumps their empty beer cans. It's right at that corner. So,
How do you know
anyway.
they're teenagers?
Well, maybe, yeah, why am I blaming teenagers? So, anyway, so, there's just spots that need to be cleaned up, and the staff we can't do it all. So if everybody can pitch in, we'll get it straightened up. So, thank you.
Thank you. And I'll just add, it's great to be back, and I, now that we're all together in a room, want to commend our A-team on all of the work that you guys have done over the last year. keeping things moving. So I know we say it, but it's nice to say it and actually look you in the eyes and say it. So thank you. Moving on to Fiscal Officer Ken Dietz.
Thank you. First of all, we have our financial reports available. The one thing that does show up is our revenues, because we've already collected half of our real estate tax collection. But our revenues are running a little bit higher than we thought. They're more than 50% right now. And I did check, we had a settlement report come out last week, and it looks like our collections are a little bit above last year. We were a little bit terrified, I guess, of what might happen with the taxpayers not being able to pay because of the pandemic, but it looks like they're right on course, which they've been every year, so happy to hear that. We have one appropriation change, which is for parking lot expansion. We had put the money in the regular TIF fund, or most of the money in the regular TIF fund, and in order to complete that parking lot expansion via the Stonecrest Anthology TIF, we need to transfer, or we need to increase the TIF fund in the Stonecrest Anthology by $190,121. But to offset that, we are taking $180,000 and shifting it from the original TIF program. So the total effect is about a $10,000 increase in the budget. So I would need your approval on that.
I move to adopt the appropriation changes recommended by Fiscal Officer Ken Dietz.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Ms. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
And we have some minutes to approve.
I move to approve the minutes from February 4th, 2021. Can I do both together?
Yeah.
And February 18th, 2021.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Before we move on, I forgot, we got a letter from Kurt Hartman, a resident attorney, who wanted us to acknowledge a local business in your neck of the woods, the Salem Express.
Yeah.
And just wanted to make mention of how nice that business looks and how nice that corner looks after sitting vacant for some time. So I told him we would make that we'd say something tonight. So, and it does. They've done a great job with
Yes,
that.
they have.
So.
There's some nice trees along there. It looks great. Thank you.
Margaret. Good evening.
Ooh, got a shock. So in November of 2018, the state legislature amended the statute dealing with the authority for use of township credit cards. And as a result of the changes in the statute, this board adopted a revised policy, which you call the Anderson Township Credit Card Account Policy, in April of 2019. And at that time, you designated me as law director as the compliance officer to perform the duties that are required of the township under the statute. That means that I've been working with Nancy Downs and looking at the credit card accounts and assembled the credit card report, which is attached to the resolution in your packet as Exhibit A. And while some of the items on that report might seem, well, gee, why is this there and not something else? What is in the report is exactly what's required under the statute that you report. So with that, I submit the compliance report and ask that you approve it or accept it by resolution.
I move to adopt a resolution accepting the report of the law director as compliance officer provided pursuant to the Anderson Township Credit Card Account Policy, April 2021.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Margaret. Welcome back, Paul.
Thank you. The township received a zone change application for the property located at 7867, 7877, and 7887 Beachmont Avenue for the rezoning of OO, which is Retail and Planned Office District, to the proposed EE, which is Planned Retail, or Planned Business District. This was heard before Hamilton County Regional Planning Commission on April the 1st. It will be heard by the Anderson Township Zoning Commission on April the 26th. And if it stays on schedule, we are asking that you set a public hearing for your meeting on May the 20th, 2021, for the purpose of hearing the zone change case, which is case number 1/2021 Anderson.
I move to set a public hearing for Thursday, May 20th, 2021, at 5:30 PM at Anderson Center, 7855 Mile Road, Anderson Township, Ohio, for the purpose of hearing case number 1-2021 Anderson.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. How you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Sergeant Mike Petersman, the Sheriff's Office, obviously. Fortunately, Lieutenant McEllery could not be here tonight. I'm new to this area. I was transferred over here in October of last year, so it's nice to meet everybody.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
The only thing we have is the Fine Wine and Spirits, located at 8427 Beachmont Avenue, is applying for a Class C1, C2, and D6 liquor permit. They are taking over what is going to be the old, now Claremont Springs Deli. To my knowledge, they are not going to have a deli operation at this point. So,
They had good-
yes,
they had good
everybody's
sandwiches.
favorite deli is no longer. This new ownership is supposed to take place in the next 3 to 6 months, and the Sheriff's Office has no objections to this permit. Thank you.
That I move not to object to a liquor license transfer request from Vigneshwara LLC, DBA Fine Wine and Spirits, located at 8427 Beachmont Avenue.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes. Thank you. Eric, Public Works.
Good evening. This evening, we have our 2021 Pavement Preservation Program. As the board is aware, our current road maintenance plan requires us to utilize a microsurface overlay to help stretch our paving funds. I'm recommending that we apply a microsurface overlay to a select group of streets for the 2021 program. The cost of the regular microsurface overlay is about 60% of the traditional cost of a grind and repave of a standard road. But this year's state bid pricing for the overlay is $380 per ton. Strasser Construction Incorporated has agreed to perform this work below that state bid pricing. They will also do patching, crack sealing, prior to laying the microsurface. Then they'll come back afterwards and do any restriping that needs to be done to replace whatever was covered up. So I've attached a copy of their quote from Strasser for your review this evening, and that's before you tonight.
I move to authorize the Township Administrator to enter into contract with Strasser Construction, Inc., utilizing state bid pricing in the amount of $308,764.65, plus a 10% contingency of $30,876.46, resulting in a total amount not to exceed $339,641.11.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
Thanks. That's going to add to the traffic headaches this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let me just say, for the residents here, this microsurface overlay, although it is not a new grind and blacktop, it really does buy us time for roads that don't necessarily need a complete resurface job, and it lasted quite a while on Dunwoody, my street, and I think it bought, I would say 10 years. I could be wrong.
We try to shoot for 10 to 12 years minimum out of it, depending on the amount of traffic.
So it
and
does
volume.
save the taxpayer a significant amount of money, and I'd like everyone to be cognizant of that when they see it go down.
It does wear very well.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eric.
Good evening, again. The fire department is, I'm here tonight requesting on behalf of the fire department authorization to purchase 2 staff vehicles at a total cost of no more than $55,000 per vehicle. That includes the purchase of the vehicle, the application of reflective striping, the purchase of radios and installation of the radios, and purchase of emergency lights and installation of those lights. The first vehicle is a replacement of a vehicle that we're getting rid of because of extensive corrosion. The second vehicle would be to, for the new chief, the new battalion chief that the board approved 2 months ago. We think these vehicles are important. Our battalion chiefs, when we're off duty, come to the vast majority of our structure fires and major incidents. They free up a firefighter position, and they definitely improve the safety and the effectiveness of the crews on the scene. I believe there's a resolution before
Okay.
you.
I move to adopt a resolution authorizing the purchase of equipment pursuant to Section 505.101 of the Ohio Revised Code and the disposition of a surplus motor vehicle pursuant to Section 505.10A-3 as a trade-in against said purchase.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Good evening again. One of the items you heard us mention earlier entailed work on Lawyer Road. The township has been very active in the last 6 months with engineering on Lawyer Road for a sidewalk connection per the Anderson Trails Plan. It's one of the highest priority projects that we have to fill in the missing gap between Little Dry Run Road and Concord Green. We've explored, a half dozen ways of trying to do that at this point in time. We've kind of unearthed one other with regards to the county's proposed paving of Lawyer, and that would involve possible modification of the small hump that exists north of Concord Green to achieve sight distance for a crosswalk at that location, which will allow us to not build sidewalk on the other side continuing down the road. We'd like to explore that possibility and achieve some potential cost savings with the county and their planned resurfacing. So before you, there's a proposal for engineering services to study that hump, to analyze it, and then ultimately determine whether that is a cost-effective way at proceeding with the project. And that amount would be not to exceed $6,800. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer that. They are ready, willing, and able to get this done quickly, and we are in a very short timeline to stay ahead of the county. So.
Okay. I move to authorize staff to enter into an agreement with Brandsetter Carroll Incorporate to provide additional engineering services for the Laurier Road sidewalk project for a cost not to exceed $6,800, as well as a 10% contingency of $680 using 1994 TIP funds.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good evening. We just have a few additional items for the board. Ms. Stone mentioned the comprehensive plan update that we're currently undergoing. This township, I'm very proud, even before I started here, there's been a long history of planning on a number of levels. One of the efforts that the board engages in every year is the annual Board of Trustees planning meeting. Unfortunately, we were not able to have that meeting last year due to the pandemic, but we have scheduled a board planning meeting this year to be held on May 6th and May 7th at the Heritage Center. For the public consumption, prior planning meetings have resulted in the Anderson Trails Plan. They've resulted in the centering of the community and actually this facility. This board has been very active in planning and very supportive of planning, and staff appreciates that very much, as I'm sure the community does. So we are still finalizing the agenda for this planning meeting. For the public, it's an all-day event on Thursday, May 6th, and will likely run into late afternoon on the 7th as well. It is open to the public, as is all of our trustee meetings. And again, it'll be held at the Heritage Center. We are hoping for the weather to be conducive so this can be outside, because it is a sit around and talk kind of meeting to discuss creative ideas and where the township goes in the future. This will be in lieu of our May 6th interim workshop meeting, which was previously scheduled for 2 p.m. on May 6th. There is one item arising from executive session discussions for the board consideration. I believe you have a motion in your packet under 11C.
I move to reappoint Tom Turchiano and Dominic Wolfer to the Anderson Township Park District Board of Commissioners for a term of 3 years, effective May 11th, 2021.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
Thank you. The last item for the board this evening is the annual request for the Stormwater District level of service and establishing service fees for 2022. This is a program that's operated through the Hamilton County Stormwater District. The township receives mandated stormwater compliance services in order to fulfill the OEPA regulations, and the fees that are collected through property bills. So there is a motion before you and the related stormwater level of service and estimated service fees response form.
I move that the township administrator be and hereby authorized to execute on behalf of this board the stormwater district level of service options as service fees for 2022 with the Hamilton County Stormwater District in substantially the form before this board with such changes thereto as shall not, in her judgment, after consultation with the law director, be detrimental to the township, such determination being evidenced by her execution of said agreement. The board further requests that the Hamilton County Stormwater District use a portion of these fees to investigate methods to minimize the impacts of stormwater quantity.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else? With that, our next meeting in this room will be May 20th, 5 o'clock exec, 5:30 public portion. And seeing no other items, I would move to adjourn.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
everybody.
everyone. Good to see y'all.
Dominic, would you like to come up and say something?